Those who have had the good fortune of visiting the outskirts of a village or the depths of the woods will undoubtedly remember the pleasant experience of bathing in the river. These small places of peace and nature are perfect for completing a camping trip, going for a walk in some unexplored area, or finishing a day of fun. However, although nowadays we can enjoy them with virtually no danger, this wasn't always the case. In the past, a simple dip was enough to lose your life in a matter of seconds due to the powerful prehistoric monsters that inhabited these waters. Their stories are terrifying, and if you're willing to join us in this opportunity, you'll be able to learn a little more about these monstrous creatures that kept humans far away from the water long ago. Number 5. Hyneria. Before sharks and crocodiles were the deadliest predators of the sea and rivers, even before the rest of the sea creatures managed to find a refuge to evade their attackers, there was a monster that few could escape from. It was considered one of the greatest killers of the sea and rivers. It was up to 3 meters long and lived about 360 million years ago. Of course, we are talking about Hyneria, a monster you would never want to cross paths with. Its name refers to the town of Hyner, located in present-day Pennsylvania, where Keith Stewart Thompson found the first fossil of this creature. According to his description, this enormous fish could reach 4 meters in length and its skull had bones protruding from its mouth and cheeks. In addition, its lower jaw was unusually long and its teeth were robust and sharp, with a size of up to 5 centimeters. Of course, this fish would have put on a grisly show if anyone had been there to witness its monstrosity. However, the following creature will prove to you that when it comes to predators and marine killers, size matters very little, but rather the thirst for blood and the desire to shred everything in their path. Number 4. Risidas. How can such a small fish be so deadly? This is what many wonder when it comes to Risidas, a monster of the world's freshwater lakes, river systems, and great swamps in the Carboniferous period. History books know it for its famous root teeth, so different from the tiny dental rakes of most of its species. This monster had fangs that grew to about 22 centimeters, and its jaw had such a large opening that it could swallow almost any small to medium-sized amphibian. Generally, Risidas didn't grow more than 40 centimeters. Some grew up to 1 meter, but it was enough to ravage the rivers. Its figure was rarely perceived, and it was wrapped in strong silver scales that blended in with the color of the water. Its victims had nowhere to go when this monster approached them, and its speed was so dizzying that few managed to escape its fateful bite. However, when it comes to true amphibian shredders and lethal bites, the following creature has a lot to offer, although nothing good can come of its hungry need to murder river dwellers. Number 3. Panoniosaurus. The next creature could go completely unnoticed today. In fact, anyone could see it in the middle of a river, while calmly canoeing through the fresh water, and mistake it for an ordinary fish with nothing special. However, everything would completely change when this monster shows its monstrous tail full of dark scales and 2 fin-like hind legs. Science knows it by the name of Panoniosaurus, and although very little is known about this prehistoric creature that once kept the amphibians of the Cretaceous period on the brink of extinction, there's no doubt that it was a terrifying beast. But its terror wasn't caused by its physical form but by the powerful bite of its jaw, which resembles today Nile crocodiles, the deadliest beasts of the swamps and rivers. Its dentition was composed of medium-sized, sharp teeth, similar to those of the shark, and far from shredding the skin of its victims, it tore apart with small bites from which nothing could escape. Even so, if this monster of the rivers had come across the next creature on the list, it might not have been easy to hunt at all. In fact, there's a good chance that our Panoniosaurus would have been its victim. Number 2. Spinosaurus. The following creature seldom saw the sunlight, for it lived in the deepest parts of the rivers, where it always seemed to be night. Generally, its victims were dragged to this gloomy place against their will because there were several sharp reasons for submitting to the will of Spinosaurus, a river monster that tormented the waters in the late Cretaceous period. This peculiar creature is believed to have lived 99 million years ago near present-day Egypt. Its fossil remains suggest that it grew to about 18 meters in length and weighed up to nearly 21 tons. Its physiognomy is described as that of a crocodile, but with a slightly greater mobility. Its robust, elongated jaw had a bite so strong that it could crush bones, and a long hump crowned with shark bones protruded from its back. The image is, by itself, terrifying, but rarely did any animal get to see it more than twice. Spinosaurus' attacks were swift and violent. Its appetite was insatiable and nothing survived, as it was capable of depopulating entire rivers in a matter of weeks. Even so, it is still not ruthless and brutal enough to live up to the next beast you're about to meet, although it's worth admitting that this monster is one of the ancestors of one of the most feared creatures in modern times. Number 1. MegaP. The name of this creature is a hint to its lethal nature. Nowadays, we know it for being small, deadly, and furious, but it wasn't always like that. In the past, its size was a synonym of danger for other animals, and its huge tail could have terrified even a tribe of brave fishermen. Undoubtedly, we are talking about the ancestor of piranhas, the MegaP. But don't be fooled, its name doesn't refer to its size, but to its prominent thirst for blood and flesh. This butcher species inhabited what's known now as Argentina and had very curious peculiarities. In principle, its size didn't vary much from today's piranhas. They were slightly thicker and more elongated. They still stood out for their small bites at high speeds. The MegaP even had more prominent and ripping teeth than the species we know today. Generally, curved, elongated teeth protruded from its jaw and dug into the flesh of amphibians that crossed its path, and mammals that approached the rivers for a sip of water. Of course, these MegaP tended to move in large groups, and despite their ample need for food, they worked as a team to grind the poor creatures that served as their food to the marrow. However, although this monstrous creature can be considered one of the greatest prehistoric monsters that lurked in the rivers, there's still another creature that needs to be talked about, at least if you really want to know all the horrors hidden in the water. Ground Zero. Sarcas. Fish aren't the only inhabitants of rivers, lakes, or swamps. These places are home to one of the deadliest creatures of our time, and in the past it wasn't that different. In fact, it was much worse. This creature lived 133 million years ago in what is now the African continent. Its size was monstrous, reaching 9 meters long and weighing more than 4 tons. To fall into its jaw was to be imprisoned in a cage of teeth, and a terrifying one because this creature could crush a cow with just a simple bite. We speak, of course, about Sarcas, a reptile related to modern crocodiles. Its fossil remains reveal that it was a creature that could have easily competed with several predators of the Jurassic period. Sarcas was fast, deadly, and insatiable. It can be considered one of the most sophisticated killing machines in history. Like these river monsters, it would be virtually impossible to survive an encounter with one of them. However, these are by far the most dangerous creatures you could come across, not only in prehistoric times, but also in the present day. Would you like to hear a couple more reasons to really fear the sea? Do you want to discover what lurks in the depths of the oceans and beaches you visit every summer? Then join us in a new opportunity and get ready to rediscover the meaning of terror.